Good morning. Good morning. I am your girl Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Welcome to another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. And yes, we have our new friend here who just had to be in my arms for a moment, right? And this is Jelly Bean. For those that didn't get to meet him, this is my new baby. He's officially mine. Check out Wednesday's message. Wednesday's message was about him, about our growth and the healing that's happening between the two of us. Um, I think that would be a great moment. Stay down there for a bit, for a little bit, okay? Let mommy finish this. Hey, Paula. Paula said, "Good morning, Jelly Bean." So I wanted to share because this was like one of those weeks where things have just been happening. Like it just it's like if something can happen, it happens. And this happened over on Monday. So for those of you that know, last week I was in New York City visiting family and came back Monday, right? So I was in no sorry. I was anticipating on coming back to Tulsa on Monday. But when I say everything can go wrong, everything was going wrong. When I got there, my I lost my driver's license. Still can't tell you I believe that it was and it is at the car rental place. They said they don't have it. I will not argue. Um, I have if you have lost your ID and you are anticipating on taking a flight, there is a way for you to get on the plane, but I'm going to tell you it is a very long and extensive process. Okay. I will say that you will have to get there about 3 hours early for New York. I would say for New York, 3 hours early. If I was like in Tulsa, it would have been a lot less time because Tulsa is a smaller airport. But that was the first challenge. And it worked out, you just got to go in with this calm mindset of like, it's nothing that they can do, right? It's really above them, and you are at their mercy. And when that happened, I was okay with that. Like, all right, things happen, life happens. There's nothing wrong with this. Everything is gonna be okay. I had like a positive outlook, mindset was like fully there, and we just kept getting delayed. And now, for those of you that also don't know, Newark, which is the cousin of LaGuardia and JFK, Newark was having all of these issues this week. I think they're still having issues. I know that they had some air traffic controllers that walked off the job, which left the city and pretty much in shambles. And I think they said Monday morning they lost um they lost sight of the system for like 90 seconds. Now 90 seconds is a long time. Like I'm gonna be honest, 90 seconds is a very long time. And so they ended up having to ground planes at LaGuardia. I'm pretty sure they had the ground planes at JFK as well. So they already put planes in back delayed in at LaGuardia, and then we had bad weather, so it just kept on raining, and it means sometimes it would start to thunder. And if I've started to learn like if there's a thunderstorm, the plane cannot leave. The staff has to go inside, so it's like you really have a whole process. Jelly Bean, give me a second, okay, baby? Let me talk to my friends, and you're my friend too. Yes, right. So that happened. So they kept delaying. By I think the last time, stop, baby. The last time they said we were going to be leaving at like 11:45 Eastern time. 20 minutes before that, they canceled the flight. And I was just like, okay. Like I literally just had this like, okay, like there's nothing that I can do because guess what? There was nothing that I can do. But let me tell you how the enemy will always try to bring someone along the way to try to get you riled up because that's what they're doing. So they let us know where to go online, go to this counter to reschedule, or to see your options. I already had the app open and I saw my options, so I was just going to the line just to kind of see if there was any like extra incentives, hint that I can possibly get because of this inconvenience. And the guy in front of me, he just got really started. Like, isn't this crazy? Like, they're sitting here, going home, and we got to sit in the airport, and it was just, I really just realized, like, some people are looking to recruit people to get them angry with them and to cause a scene. And I'm telling you, the airport is not a place that I ever want to cause a scene. I never want to have any risk of being on the no-fly list. Like, and the way that people have been acting lately, I don't want to be on that list with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because like, we see these stories on social media. I'm not trying to be that person. So when I was communicating with this man, and I was just like, look, sir, there's nothing that we can do. It is what it is. Like, they're giving us options. They're saying that the flights can leave out tomorrow morning or tomorrow sometime. Pick a flight, and just like literally, I wanted to say, get out my face. But I was very impressed when I went to Threads, and I had shared it on Threads. And I'm gonna quickly share with you what I wrote. And I was not expecting any real engagement about this post. So I said, flight got canceled 30 minutes before boarding. A man tried to get me to be upset and angry as we sought to find new flights. I said, don't try to recruit me to be angry and cause a scene. There is nothing we can do besides find a new flight. I'm not raising my pressure on something I have no control over. Recruit someone else. That's all that I said. Can I tell you how amazed I was at the fact that I got over 2,000 likes, 85 comments, and over 20 people re-quoted or reposted this post? But the comments is what gave me peace in knowing that people are truly out here trying to heal. People are really trying to change the narratives, change the way that they do things. Because people were in the comments like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm proud of you because I know that I know you could have said something crazy. These are people that don't know me. These people don't know me anywhere on Threads. And it was just so refreshing because typically we're seeing, and there was some comments. Like, one young lady was like, well, if everybody would turn up, then they would do something. Do what? What is there? What can they possibly do? Nothing. There's nothing that these airports can do, that these airlines, that the staff can do. So turning up at 11:30 at night on a Monday, knowing that the airport typically closes at 12 o'clock, because LaGuardia, although it is international, the international flights. Oh, what are you doing? The international flights typically do leave out in the like the overnights, but there's like certain parts. So the part of the airport that I was in, you could see the stores were closing, everything. The staff was just cleaning up. They were like getting us out of there. So there was really no hope of us getting a flight. So I want to show you one comment. Like, all respects to you. I wish there were more people like you in this world. And again, I'm not doing this. I'm not sharing this because it's about gloating, but it's about when we're doing things intentionally, as far as saying, you know what, I know how I intentionally have handled things in the past, and then you're sharing these things, and other people who don't know you, they recognize it. That is very telling of how much growth you are actually experiencing. When strangers they can see even this little post here showing like, yeah, we all know how we could turn up. But knowing that somebody is trying to get you to go that direction and you're choosing not to, that's so refreshing, right? At least for me. I might just be the only crazy person. But for me, I feel like it was refreshing. And then someone said, and this was the only person that had, comments like, well, how did you find it? Like, how did you find that Zen? And this is why I wanted to have this conversation today, because one thing I'm very honest about was I did get to a point where I got tired of myself getting angry about everything. I used to get angry about every single thing, especially things that I had no control over. And then I had to realize that it's very unhealthy. So although I might be plus size, and even in my past, before I lost the weight, thankfully I never had like high blood pressure, and I didn't want that. I don't want that for myself. And that to me was every time I did go to the doctor and they were like, oh, your blood pressure is elevated. If I wasn't in pain, then the other factor was I was angry and I was mad and I was I'm ready to take your head off. And to notice that, yeah, girl, that's why they about to put you on blood pressure medication, because of how you are responding to things. So I wanted to really just encourage you that sometimes we know that we all want to react to things, but really just start thinking like, how is this going to benefit me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and then some cases financially, right? Because a lot of times people forget there is a financial downfall to the way that you respond to things, the way that you react to things. And I noticed that, people, we think about people in the airport, the moment that you already paid for your ticket, if you get bans from TSA or even from an airline, you're losing that money. They're not going to give you a refund. They're not going to be like, oh, well, we're sorry that we have to ban you, but here's your refund for your ticket. No, you're going to have to take an L and figure out how. And if you are not home, now you got to figure out how to get back home. So that could typically be finding bus tickets, and last minute bus tickets on Greyhound. They're not cheap, right? You're going to pay the premium price because of the fact that it is last minute. Everyone has been on social media complaining how expensive Amtrak is. Amtrak also, if you do not buy your tickets in advance, you're paying premium prices. So now you're going to financially have to deal with that on top of any other consequences that is going to come with that, because you did not know how to react. You did not choose and say, hey, you know what? This is not the time. This situation I can't even change. I have no power. I cannot go to the airport. I cannot go to the air traffic controllers and tell them to do their job or to stay later than because I want you to stay here. And so when I realized that, and I was just like, dag, like, because social media gets such a bad rep that when we see people sharing positive things, when you go to those comments are not in cooperation of that. Those comments are totally against it. They want the riffraff, they want the toxic, they want you to go and have a war. And these people in my comments were the polar opposite. And that is when I realized, like, people, there are people out there that are embracing the positive. They are embracing the healing. They are looking at the ways that they used to do things and then understanding there's a consequence. And you know what? I don't have to. I can choose to respond in a different way. And everyone loved the quote when I say, don't recruit me into your nonsense. Like, don't recruit me into being angry with you. I was like, I may have to do a t-shirt just for trends, because just for threads, because it was like so many of those comments. They was like, I'm gonna use that. I need to use that. Don't recruit me into your nonsense. Don't recruit me into being angry with you. People was just really like gravitating to that, because that's what ends up happening. The enemy will send people to recruit you to be on their team. And that's a gateway, right? Anger is a gateway. It is a very easy gateway for, depending if you don't have control of your emotions. And when you're in a situation like that, that's a very vulnerable situation. You want to get home, you're tired. I've been at that airport. I was there longer because I had the fight. I had the situation with the ID. So I'm extremely tired. I am worried, like, am I going to get home in time so I can pick up Jelly Bean? Because I had already agreed with the lady to pick him up on Tuesday morning. And I was just like, oh my God, like, I just had all these mental stresses, but I just knew that I couldn't put that out there. I couldn't project it, because no one out there deserves that, right? Not in a negative way. So I try to be that light. I'm seeing people, we're in the airport, we keep seeing each other and we're like smiling, like, hopefully we can get home today. And then I'm like, I'm keeping the hope for us. I'm believing it for us, and although it didn't work out, it still worked out. I was able to get the first flight out, even though it was a connecting flight, but I was able to fly to Chicago, and I was able to get me some of my Garrett's popcorn. If y'all know about Garrett's popcorn, drop a G in the chat. If you know anything about Garrett's popcorn. And I had about like 45 minutes in connection. And I used that 45 minutes to find Garrett's in the terminal. And luckily they had me, like, I got off the plane like H6, no, H11. And my next flight was like H6, which was like such a relief, because if you don't know, O'Hara is one of the biggest airports. And initially the app was saying that we were going to land in like L something, like Larry something. And then and my connecting flight was going to be in H. So I was thinking like, oh my gosh, I have like 45 minutes to get from L to H, and Chicago's airport. I already know this is going to be stressful, but I had to calm myself down. I had to just be like, this is all going to work out. And it all worked out. We was in the same terminal, just a couple of gates from one another. And I was able to, give me some popcorn and enjoy my time, and give me something to eat, and then get to Tulsa. And I was able to, you know, pick up jelly bean, get my work done. Like it all worked out. Like that is all that I want. And I think this a couple of weeks ago, you guys remember, I did like that whole week. It was just like all is gonna work out. All is gonna work out. Like you just gotta have that mindset, but you can't allow those gateways of the people that's gonna come in with the negativity to seep in, because when those moments happen, right, that is going to, I believe that's going to take you through a journey that you didn't even need to go through. And then what I also thought was very ironic was that Monday was the 7-year anniversary of me being baptized. And I think that that also was a testament to my walk, and truly, like, is there change? Because we see people all the time getting baptized, and we believe that when people get baptized, it's supposed to come with a change. And it's not that when they dip you in the water and you're gonna just magically change. Like there's an intentional change that needs to happen. And I believe that Monday was a real testament of, is she really changed? And I think the enemy really did that, because it was like sometimes people don't believe it. When I first started this narrative, this journey, and other people notice what you are doing. And I had some individuals in my life. They would call my mom. Is she really different? She doesn't seem like, she doesn't respond the way that she used to. Or they'll be like, "Oh, are you sure that, because you used to get mad about everything." They live it in the past, right? They're still dwelling on the past. And that's all that they know is the past. So because they don't believe that their people can actually change. And that's the one thing I always tell people. Just because you don't believe that change is possible doesn't mean that no one out here is doing the work. I'm doing the work, and I intentionally choose every day to do the work. So that's why I had to let that man know we're not getting riled up. We're not getting rowdy in here. There's nothing that can happen besides us finding a spot, and you try to get as much sleep as possible. Go get you a blanket, and enjoy the rest of your night, sir. And every time I would see him, I would smile at him, because you're not recruiting me with the nonsense, sir. That's the new line. It's going to be a t-shirt. So I really wanted just to show you, because this is a form of healing. And I want you to realize, one, as we always, and I always tell people, healing is not one size fit all. Healing is not going to be just going to special retreats and reading a bunch of self-help books. Healing is intentionally being in those hard situations, just like I was earlier this week, and seeing how do you respond to that? How do you respond when other people are trying to recruit you to be a part of the nonsense as well? And are you actually going to make that shift? Are you going to choose? Because look, I could have been the only person that would have been in that terminal, calm, cool, and collective, and everybody else would have been riled up. You still don't have to be a part of the riled up, right? Because guess what? They can collect all of the riled up people and put them on that no-fly list. But guess who's going to be sitting there getting on them on flights later on, going to Cabo, Colombia, to even within the States, Tanisha, right? Because I understand that these are the consequences that I would have to suffer. Some people don't fly like I do. Some people don't travel like I do. So you want to allow someone to recruit you to the nonsense, and you don't even know their story. You don't know this is the one trip that they take a year. Meanwhile, you got about 7 more trips planned for the rest of the year. We're not the same. We can't do the same thing, right? So you have to really understand how this is implemented on a day-to-day basis. So when people say to you, how do you know that you're healed? Monday was a perfect example. How do I know that I was healed? Because when I shared it, other healed people, or even people who might not be there. And this is the part I want you to catch. Even people that are not there yet, that means that there's something that they are that's triggered within them, is ignited in them. And they're seeking out ways to like balance those next steps of being a more healed version. And so sometimes they are going to see that. So that's why even in those comments, there were people who were like, "I can't wait to get there, but kudos to you because you're there." So they know they have enough awareness to know, yeah, I haven't quite gotten that to that point, but that's where I want to be. That's the destination. They're in the right company, right? So remember, I put myself out here on social media to provide a way for people to find the right company so that they can just glean from. So that post has, I think, it got me about 5 new followers, and I'm gonna believe that I within those 5, maybe 2 of them are just there to glean because they're like they're almost at that threshold of saying I'm ready to take the next step. I'm getting close, but I'm not quite there. And so that's why I'm thankful for and I'm happy. But I do want to ask you, right? I want you to drop healed in the comments if you are walking in your growth. And again, or if you're even trying to get there, right? I want you to drop the word healed in the comments because this is something that so many of us we have to remember every day that we have to wake up because it's going to be something new. Something's going to challenge you. Something's going to tap and try to get you right to that point. Yes, Paula said healed, right? We're walking in that growth, right? Or we are at least attempting. I welcome the people that are attempting. I want you share this video with someone who is attempting, who knows what they want. They're seeking it. They just haven't gotten there yet. Because guess what? That is something that is so important. Good morning, Kendra. Yes, Kendra. Kendra's also healed. We're doing that work. We're getting to that destination because that is the only thing that we have control over. I didn't have control over the agent losing my driver's license. I won't lie. That now on last Tuesday, I didn't immediately respond. I had to catch myself because I was trying to go back to the car rental place because for whatever reason they won't answer their phone, which I find really insane. And for me to go all the way back, it was going to take over an hour and some change. And on my way there, I felt myself getting angry, and I said to God, "Let me go home. Yeah, this is gonna be best. It's best for me to go back home." And that's what I did. I went, I literally did a U-turn and I just went back home because if you already know that you're in this space, you have these feelings, and you, especially driving a vehicle, people have done some things unintentionally when they're angry and they're driving. And I don't want to ever be one of those people. So I had to remove myself and I had to regroup because it was like, you got an hour and some change drive in New York City at night with bicyclists, people just doing crazy things. This is not a healthy setting. Let me take my behind back in the house and let me reset. And I never went back to the airport until it was time for me to leave because I realized there was other solutions to this problem, right? Yes, I would have loved to physically have my driver's license with me, but guess what? I was able to go online, renew one, order a replacement one. So that one is coming. I had the letter now. So God forbid if I did get stopped by NYPD, I would have my driver's license because I had proof that I already submitted for a replacement, not a renewal. So that was definitely one of the things. And then I just knew that there was going to be a solution to the TSA because that was like my first issue. Like, am I going to get back home? Y'all know how I feel about New York. I didn't want to stay there. So I was just like, Lord, please let TSA let me through. And they did. Everything still worked out. So I just want to share that. And for those that joined late, I want you to go back because there's this context to everything that happened. And when I shared it on social media really proved to me, and it gave me joy that there are there are people out there that are looking for healing, that believe in healing, that believe in doing things different from what society is telling us, right? Society tells us, turn up, if you scream and holler, they'll listen. In certain cases, absolutely. In some cases, I don't want to take them chances. And like I said, the airport is definitely one of those places. I don't want to take that chance. Absolutely not. So I hope that this message has helped you. Hope that it has given you some insight. If you have, if you are in one of those situations, don't be afraid to share it to your social media because you don't realize how that does help other people. It either gives them confirmation that they're on the right path, or it gives them confirmation that they need to get on the right path. And I felt like that post, even though it didn't go viral, like it wasn't like 50,000 people, but to get over 2,000 likes and to have such a great engaged conversation with maybe 1% of the comments were of the opposite. They was in favor of the man. Well, you should have turned up with him. Maybe y'all should have both said something. And I'm just like, easy killer. Like I don't want them problems. Like again, there was nothing that could have been done within our control or even the control of the staff that was assisting us. And look, I got home the next morning by 10 o'clock. Like it's not always the end of the world. Life will definitely work its way out for you. And I'm always a believer that if God has any type of delays, there's something out there that he's trying to prevent us from encountering. So I don't get upset anymore. And I had to learn that was really when I had to learn to stop getting so emotional when, excuse me, getting so emotional when things don't go my way. Because I have seen the outcomes of those. Imagine you're going to work, you're walking to the train station, you see a mass of people coming from the train station, so you already know something is going on in the train station, and now you have to be redirected and to get to your destination another way. And when you do that, you find out that the original plan was a major, like even bigger delays, and you would have possibly witnessed someone taking their life on the train because of how the timing, the location of things were. I don't want to witness that. I don't want to be in a delay of something even greater than the delay that was taking us another direction. And I still got to work that day on time. And then unfortunately, someone did end up losing and taking their life. But again, we didn't get caught up in the further delay and possibly being witnesses to that because it happened where I was going to do my connection. So again, it doesn't always make sense, but it always makes sense, right? And you may not always get that update like I did in that particular case, because sometimes the delay just happens and you just never know what happened. Like, well, God, what did you protect me from? Like, what did you protect me from seeing, engaging, and encountering, or actually being a victim to? We just never know, right? So I thank you for spending some time with me this morning. Sorry that Tuesday you were not able to meet with me because I unfortunately had to have changed my flight. But I hope that next week we can have all 5 days when we are together. Well, those 4 live days, and yeah, I'm trying to push it to 7:05 because now I got a walk-in partner. I got to get up early, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle waking up and like putting on clothes because so I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When I do my lives, I just like focus on the top, like when put on the shirt, So I might have on like my pajama pants, I might have on some leggings, some shorts on the bottoms, but now I gotta get up, put on bottoms, and to put on the top to go outside to walk him. So this morning I just walked him in the backyard because I need my fence. There's one more thing that needs to be fixed on my fence so that he won't escape. And since he's 10 pounds, he can easily escape. And no one has time for that. Okay. Jelly Bean needs to get his life in order. So it will definitely be starting between 7 and 7:05, depending on how early I get my butt up so I can get him outside so he can at least get that first release from holding it overnight. But y'all going to also be seeing a lot. Definitely join me on Facebook if you are following. So this is how things are going to be shifting, right? So Facebook, you're going to get the lives, but in 30 days, those lives are going to be deleted. So if you ever want to catch a replay, you will have to go to YouTube. So my YouTube channel is YouTube/Tanisha Shanae. Facebook will be getting mostly all of the Jelly Bean stories. So if you're not following me on Facebook, go to Facebook so you can see the Chronicles of Jelly Bean, because this started over a year and a half ago when Jelly Bean came into my life. And here we are now a year and a half later, and Jelly Bean is now officially a part of the family. So that's how, I'm not going to try to overflow everything with everything. So Jelly Bean stories, videos, reels. You can go over to Facebook, and then all of the replays that will never be deleted unless YouTube does something insane. All of the replays for Morning Inspiration with Friends will be on YouTube, and you can always go over there and binge watch. But yeah, so tell a friend, share this message, subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing weekend. Tulsa is having some awesome events this weekend, so I'm excited to get outside and to spend some time with this little boy and get him, into the normal realms of being a dog and not just a street dog. So I am your girl, Tanisha Shanae, Miss Inspiration. Have an amazing day on purpose with purpose. I love you. And as always, God loves you too.